Last year we did 50. This year we're taking it to 100. So without further ado, here are your best upcoming indie games of 2017.
Absolver is set to grace the world of online multiplayer with its elegant brand of martial arts inspired combat.
In Air, you'll play as a bird-morphing girl, swooping through floating islands to discover secret-laden ruins.
The American Dream is Samurai Punk's first major title since 2014's Screen Cheat. A satirical take on the Second Amendment, The American Dream will be VR exclusive. Transitioning from scene to unrelated scene without notice, Anamorphine is sure to be a trippy ride.
Multiplayer turn-based game Anti-Hero has jam-packed their bite-sized Victorian-era characters with swagger, snicker and scheming. If David Bowie went on a space journey to become Ziggy Stardust, the artful escape of Francis Vendetti is what it would look like. Spectacular.
Take charge of humanity's first settlement on an alien world and encounter new environments and life forms in Avon Colony. Beta playable now.
The terrific sketchbook art has got our attention, and now we wait to see what horrors Bad Dream Coma has for us this February.
Battle Chasers Night War will reboot the 90s comic series of the same name as a JRPG with wonderful hand-drawn cutscenes.
Take Iron Chef, add a pinch of magic, a healthy dose of hunting, and voila, you have Battle Chef Brigade.
Beat the Game asks you to go around collecting sounds to compose a live performance at the game's end. Looking like a game made in the 80s wasn't enough for Beat Cop. It's also set in 1980s New York and full of 80s cop movie references.
The much delayed Below does not have an official release date, but we hope 2017 is the year we get to uncover its roguelike mysteries.
On early access since early 2015, Besiege is an in-development physics-based game about construction and destruction.
If you've already binged Netflix's A Series of Unfortunate Events, you can continue to get your fix of tragic orphan children via narrative-driven Blackwood Crossing.
Metroidvania Chasm is another game long in development, but hopefully arriving in 2017.
Children of Zodiacs mixes the combat of handheld JRPGs with a deck builder, whilst looking incredibly cute.
A group of teen friends uncover a magical world sometime in the 80s. Crossing Souls sounds a lot like Oxenfree, and that's music to our ears.
Get ready for some old school cartoons as the much anticipated Cuphead arrives in the middle of the year on Xbox One and Windows computers.
From the creators of Death Road to Canada comes Dad by the Sword, a puntastic dungeon crawler with video games' coolest father since Octodad.
Both the influence of Castlevania and Dark Souls are evident in Death's Gambit, but it's the epic moments of giant climbing and dragon surfing that has us pumped.
We played a preview of the challenging D-Sync at PAX Oz last year and were left impressed with its creative kill combinations.
Arena shooter Diabolical hopes to make a splash in the competitive scene when it ships mid-year.
Disc Jam is a ridiculously amped up version of air hockey, and we already love it.
2016 gave us Redout, but 2017 has more hover racing action in store with early access title Distance on the horizon.
If you're ever peckish in 2017, forget Uber Eats and try Donut County, a game where you take control of an expanding hole in the ground that's consuming everything from donuts to mountains. Yum.
It didn't make it in time for 2016, but we're still excited for Eater and its stunning visuals. Just look at that lighting. A Newgrounds game in 2013, Eldritch Hunter has received a major overhaul ahead of its Steam release.
Guide a young boy through the deserts, monasteries and saloons of the West in stealth game El Hijo, Steam and iOS.
Early access title Element offers a real-time strategy game that cuts down on time but not depth.
Finding Paradise is the follow-up to 2011's To the Moon. Again, two doctors traverse the memories of a dying man to fulfill his final wish.
Frame 2 is the sequel to Hideo Kojima's Game of the Year, and will navigate the series into the waters of China's harbours.
From the creators of This War of Mine comes Frostpunk, a game that'll test whether morality can survive a mercilessly cold world.
The head-turning Nog will trip out your noggin with its kooky, contraption-filled robot heads.
Gorogoa takes the frame formula and adds exquisite illustrations and more mind-bending puzzles. Mac and Windows first, mobile later. Hand of Fate 2 will up the scale of the original with companions to fight with and more enemies to contend against.
Recently announced as a Nintendo Switch launch title has been Heroes Takes the Retirement Home on a comeback tour. Will also come to Xbox, PS4 and PC.
The Little Heralded High Wreath Songs of Stone is currently delayed, but our anticipation for it hasn't dimmed.
Hob around a ruined planet and repair it as you go in this puzzle-centric title from the creators of Torchlight.
Despite its many bleak settings, Hollow Knight never feels dreary. It's got a unique charm and we can't wait to fight our way through it.
Inner Space puts you inside inverted planets and lets you fly where you like. Chilled soundtrack and powerful Abzu vibes.
Jenny LeClue is the point-and-click Nancy Drew in this choice-driven murder mystery. It'll be on Steam first, then iOS and PS4.
Slice 'em up side-scroller Katana Zero has a very cool neo-noir vibe and carefully designed levels that emphasize action.
The fifth and final chapter in the much-loved and lauded Kentucky Route Zero series is almost here to take us on the road again.
Kieru blends the stylings of Sin City with Samurai Jack to create a deathmatch cast in the shadow of tactical subterfuge and assassination.
The King's Bird is a momentum-driven glider of a platformer with specks of Dust Force influence.
Being stuck in the past isn't all bad. From clothes to music to castles to combat, everything in Kingdom Come Deliverance is historically accurate and wowing.
Puddles, wellies, frisbees and tricked out rides, Knights and Bikes boomerangs your childhood right back to you.
As it graduates from early access, Frosty Adventure Kona will double in length and tie up its loose ends.
A resurrected detective investigates his own murder in Last Life's stylistic vision of colonial Mars.
The Legend of Bumbo is a Binding of Isaac spin-off that'll trade intense action for turn-based play.
The scares are big in Little Nightmares. Reminiscent of Playdead's Limbo and Inside, it releases April 28 for Xbox, PlayStation and Windows.
Already an astounding sandbox survival game, the long wait for the long dark story mode continues.
Loot Rascals is an outer space roguelike in which the ghosts of other players haunt or hinder you. Unfinished version now playable on itch.io.
Confusing, yet amazing. Manifold Garden is drawing up some impossible architecture that's filled with gravity-defying puzzles. By daylight a shopkeeper, come nightfall a fighter, such is the tale of Will the Moonlighter.
The change from Atari-like graphics to a goofier cartoon look has drawn a mixed reaction, making Nidhogg 2 a must-watch release.
February 21, we get character-driven adventure Night in the Woods on Windows, Mac, Linux and PlayStation 4.
Freshly funded on Kickstarter, Nycro boasts a glorious soundtrack, diverse landscapes and a fully customizable drone.
Old Man's Journey is a slow and contemplative journey through the memories of a well-travelled man.
The return of arcade sports titles continues with old-time hockey and its violent brand of Bush League play.
Outer Wilds takes the rocket simulation of Kerbal Space Program and throws it into the world-ending time loop of Majora's Mask.
Outreach puts you on a covert space station and in the middle of a Cold War conspiracy. Also has this incredible cinematic as a prologue.
Fitting its world into one screen, Overland makes squad-based tactics accessible to a wider audience.
Like a bat using echolocation at night, horror game Perception uses sound to create its visuals. It's also just been confirmed for PS4.
Police Stories is a top-down shooter that reminds us a little of Door Kickers.
Bastion, Transistor and now Pyre. Supergiant Games' latest offering is a party-based RPG with head-to-head local multiplayer.
Quote wants you to burn every book, author and word and cleanse its land of wisdom. Bizarre yet fascinating.
Everyone's going nuts for Rain World, a platformer in which you play a bottom-of-the-food-chain slug cat in a world of acid rain.
Rattletrap Racing is the gang beast of racing games with some ultimate chicken horse chaos slapped on top.
Papers, Please creator Lucas Pope's next game is the return of the Obra Dinn, a rummage through a lost long ship.
With the IP rights reacquired from Sony, Island Wonder Rhyme is prepped to blow us away this May.
Coming to early access in Q1, Rock is a sandbox MMO on a damn fine looking Mars. Above the temple, but under the radar, Roof Rage is an acrobatic brawler with fast gameplay and beautiful maps and sprites.
Ruiner is a cyberpunk beat-em-up that has you play as a sociopath searching for his kidnapped brother. It's appropriate that immediately following Ruiner we have Savior. Billed as the first Cuban indie game, it is a fully animated 2D platformer.
Before Tequila Works' launch Rhyme in May, they released the Sexy Brutale in April. The game is Groundhog Day at a murderous masked ball.
Shio is a chain-jumping platformer that promises a serious challenge that can be tackled at a casual pace.
Shovel through procedurally generated ruins in Skytorn. Sound design and animations are top-notch.
We're already wrapped up in the goofy delight of Snake Pass, coming to Xbox, PlayStation and PC.
Soul Blight takes the role-playing part of RPG very seriously, making for a peculiar and different roguelike experience.
The second Shovel Knight expansion, Spectre of Torment, will give you Reign of Spectre Knight as he recruits the Order of No Quarter, this April for free.
From the devs behind Dustforce comes Spire. Expected to release late in the year, the game revolves around an ever-changing tower.
We may now be in 2017, but as far as old school shooter strafe is concerned, it may as well still be 1996.
A first-person story on a space station teeming with mysterious artificial intelligence, Tacoma hopes to take Gone Home's formula to new heights.
To Azimuth is a search for a missing brother in 1970s Alabama told from two perspectives, made by team behind 3/4 Home.
A super zoomed out perspective gives Assassinator Tokyo 42 this great scale to show off its smooth structures.
The makers of Monaco are now putting out Redwall meets Russian Revolution RTS Tooth and Tail.
Paying ode to the games of the Commodore Amiga, Tower 57 is a bloody quick shooter in a neo-retro world with a smashing soundtrack.
Dust storms tear through the sandy world of Vane, filling you with dread and conjuring mystery, arriving on PC and PlayStation.
The mundaneness of a slightly tacky but humble suburban family home is not where you'd expect horror to lie, and that's what makes Visage so scary.
Voodoo will have a lot to sort out when it releases in early access, but we've never seen anything like it and can't help but get excited.
Voichi is bringing 19th century illustrator Albert Robita's vision of Paris in the Sky to life.
We Are Chicago is a game about the struggle of staying on the straight and narrow whilst growing up on the seedy south side. February 9.
Already an early access hit, we can't wait to get our full fix of the We Happy Few narrative in the next few months.
Edith Finch is the last member of her family left alive. Relive the lives of her relatives on the day of their deaths and discover what remains of Edith Finch.
Where the Water Tastes Like Wine is a collection of short and bleak American folk tales, but whilst we gaze at its wondrous visuals, bleak is the last thing that comes to mind.
We didn't start the fire. We took it from the wild, flung it, distracted the guard and snuck by her. Wildfire is a stealth game that lets you control the elements.
On April 12, Yooka-Laylee will bring back the kooky and lively joy of 90s 3D platformers, as well as the spirits of a much-loved Honeybear and Redbird.
Ziba is a block-pushing puzzler with some damn pretty environments coming at the back end of the year.
And that's it, 100 games. 2017 is going to be a wild ride and we can't wait to cover it.
Thanks for watching and we'll see you all soon here on Indie Former.